good morning. It is time for the final day in the demo. I'm pretty sure day 3 is the final day in the demo. And maybe we'll get to see what's in the locked door. Maybe we get to see if our coworkers okay. But either way, we're going to head into day 3. Alright, let's continue. The unusual sounds of the city life and traffic pull me away from my slumber, and I wake to the sight of an unfamiliar ceiling. This wasn't my bedroom, and this certainly wasn't my bed. Last I checked, my duvet were patterned purple, a housewarming gift from Violet when I first moved into my apartment, not this dark shade of black. Confused, I rubbed the sleep from my eyes in order to fully take in the rest of the room. And just like that, memories from yesterday come flooding back. Oh, right. Last night, Ren and I. My cheeks glow bright red as I recount what we did together last night, or rather, what he did. Strange. A part of me thought I was going to wake up with Ren by my side this morning, given his clingy nature that I'd grown all too familiar with. But still, his lack of presence had me wondering where he might be right now. Did he go back to sleep in his own room? Or perhaps he was already awake? Deciding there's no time like the present to find out, I stretch out the knots in my body, wake myself up fully, and jump out of bed. As soon as I walk out into the hallway, the mouth-watering scent of something sweet and sugary greets me, and almost has my feet floating towards the kitchen. Curiosity, or perhaps hunger, takes over my body, and before I know it, I find myself navigating through the maze of Ren's stupidly large apartment. Speaking of the devil, there, Ren stands in his kitchen, hunched over the stove with a spatula in one hand and what looks like to be a recipe pulled up on his phone in the other. He doesn't seem to notice my presence yet, so I take the opportunity to study him little bit more. And although I could only see most of his backside and side profile, I could easily make out the concentrated look on his face as his gaze flits back and forth between his phone and the pan. But just when I think he's about to turn around, Ren lets out a surprised noise and immediately lifts the pan from the stove. Fuck! Hearing him swear so casually was still something I had to get used to, but that wasn't what made me speechless right now. Sniffing the air, the smell of something burning invades my nostrils and has me retreating back into the living space for some fresh air. Whoa, did Ren really manage to burn a pancake? Or maybe he just wasn't that confident in cooking? Regardless, seeing him put so much effort into something so trivial did manage to pull at my heartstrings. Deciding I've had my fill of watching Ren, I finally make myself known. Hug Ren from behind, try and scare Ren, call out Ren's name, don't say anything. Oh, hug him from behind. Quietly tiptoeing behind the taller man, I wait for the perfect opportunity to strike before wrapping my arms around his waist and resting my head on his broad backside. I didn't hear you. I thought he was going to hit me with the burned pan. Despite his flustered outburst, Ren doesn't seem to move from my hold. In fact, he almost seems to melt and lean into my touch instead. And almost as if to confirm my thoughts, I feel him wrap one of his arms around my waist to pull me in for a brief hug. Good morning. I was going to surprise you with breakfast in bed. Sorry, did I take too long? Breakfast is burned. It was like I flicked an invisible switch because all of a sudden, Ren was back to the usual timid personality that I'd grown to know. You don't have to go through all that trouble for me. It's fine, I wanted to, really. Here. Without giving me a second to spare, Ren conjures up a plate full of sticky, fluffy pancakes from somewhere behind him, alongside a few toppings as well. I didn't manage to burn these ones, at least. Eat as much as you'd like. I'll have this one. We can just share it. He gestures to the burnt pancake still stuck to the frying pan. No amount of washing and scrubbing would restore that pan to its former glory. Giving Rem a pitiful look, I deposit a few fluffy pancakes onto my own plate before offering the rest to him as well. Ren, you've made enough to feed an army. Why don't we share? It's okay. I made them all for you, exactly how you like them. Oh, and how do you know how I like my pancakes? Deciding to tease him a little, I throw the light-hearted accusation into the air and hope that he'll catch it. Huh? Oh, I don't. I suppose... Don't people normally enjoy pancakes this way? I thought maybe... There he goes again, getting flustered beyond belief while his cheeks flush a deep red. Relax, I'm only teasing you. These pancakes are delicious, by the way. Oh, you were just joking. Yeah, he's worried because, My character doesn't know that she's being stalked by this person, but I know. You should know. His mood immediately seems to perk up once he hears my compliment. You like them? Really? You're not lying? Then I'll make them for you again sometime if you want, that is. It's really no problem at all. I really don't mind. How about you just focus on eating first? Aren't you hungry? I notice the way Ren's eyes darken slightly as he rests his hips against the kitchen island. He leans down close enough that I could make out the faint marks and blemishes on his cheek, yet far away to just be out of reach. Ah! What a fucking asshole. I'm not saying that. You can read it just fine. Huh? You can't be the only one who's allowed to tease people. Seemingly satisfied with my response, or lack thereof, Ren lets out a pleased hum and instead moves away to busy himself with washing the dishes. My gaze follows him, and I absentmindedly catch a glimpse at the clock on one of the shelves. 8 o'clock on the dot. Wait a second. 8 o'clock? I was going to be late for work. As if picking up on my panicked behavior, Ren halts his movements and sends me a curious glance. Crap, I'm going to be late for work again if I don't leave now. I still need to walk home and get changed and... Hey, it's okay. Calm down. Look, your clothes from yesterday are washed and dried. Why don't you just change into them and when you're ready, I can drop you off at work. There I go again, relying on this enigma of a man, taking up too much of his kind hospitality. I was already overstaying my welcome by using his dryer and sleeping in his spare bed, and now here I was, eating his food and being exactly 5 minutes away from getting a lift in his car. He really should be the one being called Angel instead of me. Thank you so much, I owe you my entire life. And I thought I was dramatic. Another date with you will do just fine. His soft smile is the last thing I see before I head back into the guest bedroom to change. But before I can make it 3 feet away, Ren's voice calls out to me once more. Oh, but I should warn you, I don't exactly drive a car. Are we gonna be balanced on a bicycle? Oh! A sports motorcycle? All black, sleek, and scary, but what surprised me the most were the faded Always With You sticker decals that adorned the tank. So Ren was a fan of that webcomic as well? I always assumed the community was rather small. There wasn't much talk about the webcomic online, so it was nice to know someone else enjoyed it as much as I did. But just as I was about to bring the topic up, my vision goes dark as Ren places a helmet over my head with a smile. He fastens and adjusts the straps before motioning towards the back of his bike with an expectant look. You're gonna be a backpack. Admittedly, I was a bit hesitant to hop on the thing, but Ren assured me that he'd tell me what to do and keep me safe the entire time. Daunting couldn't even begin to describe how I felt when the engine turned on, and I was certain Ren had scratch marks with how tightly I was clinging to him. But I somehow came out of it unscathed. I even managed to bag myself a nice warm hoodie that smelled like Ren, even if its only purpose was to protect me from the wind and flying debris. And when we parted in front of the library with a friendly goodbye, Ren waited until I was inside the building before taking off. But I barely made it 3 feet inside before a mess of blonde hair enters my field of view and almost knocks me over. She's fine? You're okay? Hey! There you are, quick, I need your help. Eleanor's exhausted demeanor catches me off guard, and I immediately do a sweep of the library for anything out of place. But I'm hardly giving any time to take in my surroundings before Eleanor reaches for my arm and all but drags me behind the reception counter and towards a mountain of paperwork. Stacks upon stacks of books, files, newspaper, and manila folders cover the entire expanse of their desk, and for the briefest moment, it almost resembles a messy archive repository rather than her workstation. What the fuck happened? What's all this? This was supposed to be sorted out yesterday. I swear I did it already. In fact, I know I did. I remember leaving it all in Conan's office before I left work yesterday, so you can imagine my surprise when I saw it back on my desk this morning. Huh? Eleanor seems vaguely concerned, especially with how she's flitting about and pacing back and forth in front of me. It was almost like she'd been a ghost, as if I didn't know any better. I honestly would have believed it. Please help me. If Conan finds out I somehow messed up again, I don't know what will happen. Hey, don't worry, I'll help. And I doubt Conan will get mad. You know how he is. I suppose you're right. Her shoulders seem to visibly relax at my words, and she slumps into her chair with a heavy sigh. How the fuck does that happen? Alright, I forgot. Let me put myself down here. Ah, yes. In the corner. Oh, the other corner. Did someone fuck with her work? Thank you so much, Mira. Do you think you can manage the stack of books? I'll handle all the files. Without missing a beat, lest our boss magically appears somewhere behind us, we immediately get to work. Time flies by quickly when I have my chatty coworker to keep me company. She fills me in on how the freak storm caught everyone off guard and how some of the patrons shared the same idea of seeking refuge within the library as well. Fair. Apparently, Eleanor was the only one around to keep an eye on things, and from the sound of it, she seems to take on the leadership role like a pro. Still, discussing her whereabouts had me thinking. That reminds me, where did you go the other day? The other day? What do you mean? You remember Ren, the pink-haired guy? Hmm? Oh, lover boy. Yeah, him. After we had the conversation with Ren, I never saw you afterwards. Oh, let me think. I watch as she inclines her head to the side to think, and all too quickly she snaps her fingers and gives me an affirmative nod. Oh, that's right. Well, this is a bit embarrassing, but I ended up going home early. I must have accidentally bumped into something while cleaning the stockroom the other day. Before I knew it, one of the shelves came tumbling down on me. It wasn't until a little later when Conan found me and pulled me out. You knocked over an entire shelf? Miss Creston. Knowing I was only teasing, Eleanor sends me a sheepish smile and bows her head to hide her reddening cheeks. But now that I think about it, the shelves in the stockroom had always seemed relatively stable to me. My coworker wasn't known for her strength, so it didn't make much sense for it to topple over that easily. But thankfully, Eleanor elaborates more, almost as if she could hear the gears in my head working overtime. Well, I suppose it was a tad bit odd. I mean, I've worked in this library for more than 5 years now. Not once have I heard of such. Oh, mm, mm. I've worked in this library for more than 5 years now, and not once have I heard so much as a creak from those shelves. It does seem strange, yeah. Well, I have no doubt Conan will be installing new storage shelves soon. Oh, speaking of, did you notice the new awning outside the library? I suppose that sudden storm from yesterday has something to do with it. In fact. Oh, maybe you heard it on the news lately? I heard that all the rain. Our conversation gets cut short as I watch Eleanor's attention drift behind me and towards the flashing red lights above one of the shelves. Duty calls, I guess. As soon as she stands, I shoot her an appreciative smile, which she returns with an apologetic one of her own and meanders her way towards the aisle. Now left to my own devices, I go back to sorting through the books and putting them into separate piles. I manage to get a solid 10 minutes to myself before the sudden sense of unease creeps up on me. It felt as though someone was watching me, so I take a curious sweep across the vicinity to try and locate the source. But nothing seems out of the ordinary. People were studying, others were quietly typing away at computers, and I could even spot the back of Eleanor's head from her spot near the fantasy fiction aisle. Nothing was out of place yet. The unnerving feeling of having eyes on the back of my head still lingered. In fact, now that I thought about it, it was eerily similar to the feeling I got when I was walking home a few days ago. Violent words about someone breaking into my apartment echo into my mind before it suddenly dawns upon me. The supposed person watching me. Could it somehow be linked? You never changed the locks on your door! No, definitely not. Shaking my head, I try to dismiss those unsettling thoughts before they start to develop into something more sinister. There was no one watching me. After all, there was hardly anything impressive about me to warrant a stalker in the first place. I was as plain as they come, and if some asshole really did break into my house, they left empty-handed. That alone clearly proved that I don't own anything worth stealing, except maybe my limited edition Attack on Giant figurines. But even then, I remember thoroughly inspecting my entire apartment once I got home. Nothing was out of place, nor looked like it had been touched. Everything was as I left it that morning. Yet it still didn't explain why I was feeling this way. Fear and apprehension seemed to overwhelm my senses so much that my mind barely registers the sound of something rustling, and I looked down to see that I had been worrying the papers in my hands for the past few minutes. Have I been stressing out that badly? Jeez, I really was letting all this paranoia get the best of me. Shaking my head once more, I decided it's best not to let those thoughts fester and grow into something far bigger than it should be. No one broke into my apartment, and no one was watching me right now. I was making a mountain out of a molehill, and nothing was going to scare me. Hello? Hi, Kiara. Whoa. Instead of some creepy stalker dressed in all black, I was met with a blonde hair and expensive-looking clothing. Was this person I felt watching me? Maybe she's been waiting for you to help her, and she's just watching you like playing with the paper while she's right in front of you. It was difficult to make out her words over the loud, rapid sounds of my heartbeat, so I tried my best to calm down before responding. Sorry, I didn't notice you come in. Welcome to the Coral Bay Library. Can I help you with anything? I hope I sounded professional enough, though I am sure there was still a lingering sense of fear in the words and a facial expression to match. But I start to dissipate as I take in the woman's appearance. Her green eyes seem oddly familiar to me, but what gives it all away is how the woman slightly inclines her head to the side as she looks over me with concern. Surely not. Was that? I don't suppose you're Kiara? Eleanor told me all about you. In the flesh, I'm actually here to visit my darling sister. Would you believe? But now you've piqued my interest. She shoots me a harmless wink and rests her hands atop the reception counter. Well, even the clanging of her jewelry sounds expensive, and I can't help but look at her in awe. Tell me, what else has Nori said about me? She finds you annoying. She wants her jacket back. She loves your taste in fashion. She really, really admires you. She loves your taste in fashion? She better. I didn't pursue a career in fashion for nothing. Did you know I designed her handbag? It's from my latest spring collection. Mia. Oh. As if summoning Eleanor herself, she emerged from somewhere behind me and joins us at the front desk. Kiara, what are you doing here? There she is. What? Am I not allowed to see my little sister? I'm at work right now. You should have texted me in advance. But I wanted to surprise you, and look, I come bearing gifts. At that, Kiara places down a few bags branded with high-end prints and designer logos. Sorry, darling. If I knew I'd be meeting you here, I would have brought extra. But I'm sure there's something for you in one of the bags as well. Pick whatever Eleanor doesn't want. Jesus. I genuinely wish I could be rich enough to say something like that, right? What the fuck? God damn. The sisters seem fully engrossed in each other's presence, so I leave them alone so that they can have their moment to catch up. After all, I didn't know how long it'd be since Eleanor and Kiara had seen each other, and the mountain of work in front of me wasn't going to sort itself out in the meantime. But before I can silently slip away and sit back down, a tattooed arm boxes me in and commands my attention. And for the second time today, the expensive smell of wealth and luxury floods my senses. Only this time, I knew the person it belonged to. Is it my ex? Don't you have hobbies? Damn, who are they? One is my coworker and the other one's her sister. Seemingly out of nowhere, Theo appears with that familiar smirk on his face and unbothered drawl in his tone. He absolutely shamelessly with how his eyes take in both his sister's appearances, before he's leaning more of his weight onto his arm and shooting me an expectant look. Don't even think about it, Theo. Trust me, you don't want to know what I'm thinking about right now. Well, they're both too good for you, so. Given how he leans even closer to my side with his sultry grin, I end up believing his worst. After all, I wouldn't put it past you to think of multiple ways to cause a scene in his free time. Not jealous, are you? Why would you even... Whether or not it was my sudden outburst that captures their attention, Eleanor and Kiara finally seem to notice us, and I thank my lucky stars for a chance to escape this conversation. Perhaps I could sneak off to the employee lounge while everyone was busy talking? I'm sure... You work here too? I've got a few things here that you should check out. Ugh. Oh, that's what he means. Despite my disgust at Theo's blatant flirting, Eleanor seems to be eating it up with a slight blush on her cheek. Oh, actually, I'm just visiting. I don't work here, but little Nori over here does. I'm sure she can help you out. Despite her friendly tone, Kiara seems to be passively shutting down Theo's attempt at flirting and redirecting it towards Eleanor instead. Yet Theo doesn't seem to be picking up on it, instead choosing to lean a little more against the counter, so that his muscles flex under his form-fitted shirt and across his ankles. You're not from around here, are you? I'd remember a face like yours. Name's Theodore, by the way, but cuties like you can call me Theo. Charming. I'm Kiara. And no, I'm only in town for a few weeks. I'm visiting some relatives and finding some inspiration before I head back home. Inspiration, huh? I could show you around. Well, aren't you fun? What about my baby sister? Huh? But I'm older than you. Come on, live a little, Nori. You always tell me how you've holed up at work all the time. I suppose, but looks like you're in need of a bit of fun. I can help with that. Have either of you been to the aquarium yet? It opened recently. Oh, that's fun. Not yet, but I'll have to give your offer a pass, I'm afraid. Aquarium is not your style? You're not my style. Oh, I love her. Ouch. Despite the low blow to his ego, Theo didn't look the least bit offended. In fact, he seems to thrive off of it. But as if fate felt the urge to intervene, Kiara's phone suddenly goes off and startles everyone. Sorry, give me a sec. I need to take this call. She slips away before any of us can have the chance to respond, and without missing a beat, Tia immediately takes her previous spot beside Eleanor. And what about you? Me? Don't see anyone else around, princess? Oh, well, I mean, I think it'd be fun, but it's supposed to be a bit awkward if it's just you and me. You heard her, doll. Who you mean, doll? Me, doll? Fuck you, doll. And if finally acknowledging my presence, Theo turns to me with an expectant look on his face. Why don't you tag along? I'll see if Leon wants to join the fun. It'll be like a double date. At that, Eleanor visibly seems to relax a little bit. I spare a quick glance in her direction, and I can pick up on the barest hint of hope in her eyes. Aw, man. Do I tell her? Wait, you wanted to go on a date with Theo? I don't know, El. Oh, what? Got better things to do? Look, I'll pay for everything. I can pick you up as well if you want. Sound good? Not that I'd ever openly admitted to Theo, but his offer was finally starting to sound tempting. I mean, free food and free outing? It was too good to refuse. However, can I take... Oh, I can't say that I want to bring... I can't say that I want to bring Ren instead. Fine, but I'm doing this for Eleanor. Eleanor seems to brighten at that, and her smile just about makes it all worth it. Atta girl, I knew you weren't gonna chicken out on us. I'm not chickening out on her. Fuck you. Then it's settled. Leon and I will meet you both here tomorrow after work. What time do you finish? Around... There you are, Mira, and I didn't realize you were busy. Finally, it was as if someone had heard my prayers this time. Colin emerges from somewhere behind me. What was up with that today? And offers me an escape from the current conversation. And without missing a beat, I turn towards my savior and spare him a thankful glance. I make sure to silently apologize to Eleanor as well, clearly uneasy with the thoughts of leaving her alone with Theo. But she seems all too happy with how she subtly shoos me away with her hand behind her back. Okay, bye. Have fun. Make better choices. Sure, I can slip away for a moment. Did you need something? Just need an extra pair of hands to sort through some boxes. But if you're busy, I'll manage by myself. No, take me with you. Okay, so perhaps I didn't need to announce that so joyfully. Regardless, I turn back towards Eleanor and Theo to send them one final apologetic look before following after Conan. Apologies for this, I didn't mean to steal you from your friends. This happened to be sorting through all of the books a coworker managed to knock over this morning. I make sure they were all in the correct category before putting them back into the cart. It felt eerily similar to what I had spent previously doing with Eleanor, only this time, there weren't any Theo-shaped annoyances to keep me company. But man, I swear, Conan had to be the only boss who'd be perfectly fine with their employees slacking off to talk with their friends instead. He hadn't said a word about Theo, and possibly Kiara too, depending on how long he'd been standing behind me, and seemed more than okay with us huddling around the reception desk. Deciding not to push my luck, I returned Conan's soft look with one of my own. It's fine, don't worry about it. I've been meaning to ask you something, actually. Has everything been going alright with you? Nothing shady has been happening lately? What do you mean? You haven't heard the news? There's been a few murders happening in the Bay Area recently. Admittedly, I have been worried for your safety as of late. You live by yourself, correct? Yeah, but I've recently had a friend stay with me. Now that I think about it, he's also been concerned for my safety. That's good. I'm glad. Listen if something ever happens. Conan awkwardly glances over his shoulder before returning his gaze back to me. Nothing but sincerity stares back, and I find myself in a stunned silence. Here, it's my personal number. Oh! I know you've only recently moved back to Coral Bay, but you've yet to put someone down as your emergency contact. I'm worried you won't have anyone to call in case something does happen. I want to make sure you're safe at all times. Oh, thank you! Of course. You're so nice! He gives my shoulder a gentle pat before resuming his original task. The conversation falls back into an easy, comfortable silence, and I pocket his number before pouring all of my focus towards the book laid out in front of me. The rest of my shift passes by uneventfully, and at some point, Eleanor informs me that Kiara had to leave for a work-related matter and wouldn't be coming back for a few days. Aw, I like her. Still, it was really nice to finally meet Eleanor's sister, and it was even kinder of her to give me a fountain pen before she left. Or at least I assumed it was Kiara. I found the expensive-looking box sitting on my desk once I returned, and I wasted no time in opening it up and examining the contents. The pen itself appeared to be made from extremely high quality materials, and the cursive M&R logo looked rather fancy underneath the light. It's from Ren! I made a mental note to get something for Kiara as well before pocketing the pen next to Conan's number and packing up my belongings for the day. But as I'm slipping out the library's back door, I notice a familiar broad backside, a patch of blonde hair, and a bright red Hawaiian shirt standing near the alleyway entrance. Are we going today? I thought he said tomorrow. As if sensing my presence, Leon turns around and greets me with one of his familiar warm smiles. Good day, darling. Been a while? He sends me a toothy grin before making space for me within the group. Eleanor greets me with a delicate wave, and Theo looks moderately annoyed, as usual. Theo was just introducing me to Eleanor, and you're yarning on about this little outing he has planned. Hey, how come you never told me you've never been to the aquarium before? Makes sense, though. I reckon it was built a bit after you left the bay, right? So I doubt you had time to check it out. Pretty much. Most of my free time has been taken up with moving and unpacking boxes. I couldn't help but find myself agreeing with his words. It was crazy how Leon seemed to know me so well, even though we hadn't had the chance to speak to each other like this in a while. But I'm curious to see what it's like. What about you, Nori? I couldn't help but let Kiara's nickname for her slip. Oh yes, I'm the same. I'm looking forward to tomorrow. Ah yeah, it is tomorrow. I've never been to an aquarium before, so this should be fun. Well, here's hoping the weather will be more lenient tomorrow. It was pissing down buckets yesterday, wasn't it? Did you make it home alright, Sunfish? All of a sudden, that eerie feeling comes back, and I resist the urge to turn around and look behind me. I only now notice that I've had my back to the dark alleyway this entire time. Mira? Sorry, what was that? You alright? You look like you've seen a ghost. Wait, did they see me yesterday? Waiting under the awning? Because I know I saw them, but I guess they probably saw me then. I watch as Leon looks behind me before glancing at Theo and Eleanor for what seems like reassurance. No, it's nothing. I guess I've had a long day at work. No, I get it. Feeling tired. You should head on home then. Please, don't let us keep you longer than we should. Want me to drop you off? Car's out front. As much as I appreciate everyone's concern, I honestly wanted to be left alone right now to clear my head. And going on a walk would surely do me wonders, and I'm not getting in a car with you, bitch! Besides, it was still somewhat bright out, and there were people around, so I had no reason to worry about my non-existent stalker. Except, am I sleeping with my stalker, or is it someone else stalking me? What are the chances I have two stalkers? I also heard that some new merch arrived at the local manga store, which I had been meaning to check out, so that would surely help to get my mind off things. Yes, let's go. It was along my route home anyway. What harm could possibly come out of a quick detour? At that thought, I quickly placated everyone's concern before bidding my goodbye, and heading off alone down the street. It wasn't until I got far enough away from the library that the eerie feeling started to dissipate. So something is up with the library? What? Lollipops? I thought it was a manga store. The nostalgic smell of comic books and plastic greets me as I enter the all-too-familiar manga store, and I immediately beeline my way towards the anime aisle. I was set on collecting the last remaining accessories from a mini Attack on Giants display, and I was about to let that paranoia get in the way of that. But as I was passing through a few of the aisles, I noticed a familiar shade of pink near the cashier. Is that Ren? Does he work here? There's no way. I didn't even notice his motorbike out front. If he even brought it. Up until now, I always assumed he has walked everywhere. Did he get a new tattoo? Oh no, he got a heart with angel written in it. My dude, it's been 2 days. It's been 3 days now. This is not a good idea. He also had a heart on his hip. Is he the serial killer? Like, am I like tendering myself up to get murdered? And even though he was wearing a mask and had his hair tied back, I could easily make out his large and lanky frame anywhere. Sneaking closer, I notice how he appears to be in a hushed conversation by the manager about something confidential, if their closest was anything to go by, before he places a thick manila envelope in our hands and leans back. But before I have the chance to make myself known, Ren is already turning on his heels and slipping behind the large racks filled with cosplays and gaming-themed apparel. What is he doing? His height does him no favors, though, as I watch his head peek from the top as he bobs and weaves his way towards the side entrance. At that very moment, my phone decides to jump scare me by suddenly going off, and startles me enough to temporarily forget about Ren. Letting out a string of curses, I reach into my back pocket and pull it out, only to see Moth's name flash on the screen. With a grin, I accept the video call and hold the phone up to my face. Is this Moth? Hey, listen now, this isn't really a good time to talk, but... Oh no, that's terrible. Get well soon. Oh, sorry for your loss. Or whatever. Anyways, listen. Guess who won an all-paid holiday trip overseas? Me, that's who. Are you gonna come visit me? It's been a while since I've last seen Moth's face, but they appeared just as boisterous as I remember them. For free, too. I mean, okay, yeah, I still need to pay for food and stuff, but... Hey, where are you? Huh? I'm in a manga store. Hold on. Can you backtrack for a second? You got free tickets to where? Is that a Haruka figurine? Can you get it for me? Please, 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 please. Moth, I'll pay you back, promise. I'll pay you for shipping too. It's so cute. Look at his whittle outfit. Look at it. His tiny little jacket and tiny little shoes. Moth! With an eye roll, I reach behind me for the figurine, but not before picking up the accessories I originally came in here for, and slowly making my way towards the cash register. Once Moth's hoots and hollers calm down, I gently try to coax them back into the original topic. Oh right, you asked where I'm going. Well, it's actually a surprise. Seriously? A good surprise, though. Hey, you're still in Coral... Why is it glitching? For a brief moment, their screen starts to lag and load symbols pop up. Moth? Because I'll be in all mode. That's okay with... Their voice cuts in and out, giving it an almost robotic effect before the screen eventually fades to black. With a heavy sigh, I end the call and shoot Moth a text to let them know that they got disconnected yet again. But as I absently to look out the window, I notice a blurry outline of Ren's figure sitting on a bench outside, busying himself with what looks like his phone. Next! The cashier's voice pulls me away from my thoughts, and I quickly pay my purchase, all while sparing not-so-secretive glances at Ren from behind the shop window to make sure that he's still there. It was strange, but I couldn't help but hope I would get a chance to catch up with him on my way out. I know it's barely been more than a few hours since I last saw Ren, but I still wanted to thank him for letting me stay at this place for the night, and for washing my clothes, cooking me breakfast, and driving me to work. The cashier pulls my attention away by handing me a bag and receipt, and I give them my thanks before making a beeline towards the exit. But just as the door swings open, I noticed that Ren had already left. He was no longer on the bench where I last saw him, and I couldn't spot him on either end of the streets either. It was like he was never there in the first place, and I almost found myself wondering if I had imagined the whole thing. It was a shame, though. I really wanted to see him and his charming smile again. But Coron Bay isn't that big of a coastal town in retrospect, so I'm sure we were bound to run into each other again sooner or later. I mean, I literally met Ren at my own workplace because we shared a few common interests in books. His just so happened to be about native flora. That kind of stuff wasn't something either of us could control, and I was most likely looking too deep into it. Still, it felt strange all the same. Oh well, there was no use dwelling over it. I still had Ren's number saved in my contacts anyway, so I could always shoot him a text or even call if I really started to miss him. Are we going home? Oh. It was beginning to get dark once I arrived back at my apartment complex, so I quickly ushered my way up the staircase and onto my floor. But as I'm making the long trek up the stairs, I bump into someone lingering around the corner and almost end up tumbling down. Whoa! Hey, watch it! You live here? Glancing up, I noticed that it's the cashier from yesterday, who was glaring daggers at me while I tried to steady myself by the railing. That was Olivia, wasn't it? She makes no effort to help me, though she does move to the side in order to give me space at the top of the stairs. It's then when I take notice of the ginormous basket of laundry in her arms, and it makes me wonder if she was actually going to carry it all the way to the laundromat by herself. Clearly she was stronger than she looked. Sorry, I didn't mean to. Olivia cuts herself off once the severity of the situation finally sinks in, before she sucks in her cheek and lets out an exasperated chuckle. Seriously, what could she possibly find so funny about the situation? Of all places, a staircase, really. Your boyfriend sure has a fucked up sense of humor. What? No, it's nothing. Look, I didn't mean to knock you down the stairs like that. I've got a lot on my mind lately, and I wasn't looking where I was going. Hey, it happens. It most certainly did. But Olivia seemed to be having a rough day, so I wasn't going to make things worse by being rude to her. She already looked on edge for some reason, especially with how she kept sneaking glances over both of our shoulders. It was almost like she was looking for something, and I would have asked her about it if she hadn't beat me to it. So where's that boyfriend of yours anyway? Not lurking around the corner like a creepy psychopath, is he? Who? Seriously? Your boyfriend? The guy who visited the souvenir shop with the other day? Oh, Ren? He's not my boyfriend, we're just... I mean, he said that he was my boyfriend. I've never seen that man in my life. He's just a friend. He's just a guy I'm interested in. Actually, he is my boyfriend. You know what? Let's... Mm, actually, he is my boyfriend. God, no need to rub it in my face. And why are you so indecisive? Either he's your boyfriend or he's not. You know what? I'm not even sure why I'm having this conversation with you. Forget it. I'm in a rush, so please move. Okay. Clearly done with the conversation, Olivia sidesteps me and starts to make her way down the stairwell, but she only manages to get a few feet away before she turns around once more. Resting her laundry basket on the hip, she looks up at me with an unreadable look. You live on this floor as well? Then it looks like we're going to be seeing each other more often. But just some neighborly advice, if you plan on bringing Ren around here, keep it down. I'm not afraid to file a noise complaint. Okay, that's fine. And with that, she disappears around the corner. What was that all about? Deciding it wasn't worth my time to mull it over, I slowly make my way towards my apartment. Not bothering to turn on the lights, I toss my keys into the tray, shrug off my jacket, and unceremoniously drop myself onto the couch. Today had been a whirlwind of events and emotions, and the worst part was that it still hadn't ended yet. I still had an hour or so left before I consider any dinner plans, so I figured I might as well spend the evening winding down in the meantime. All too quickly, an idea pops into my head, and I reach over to grab my phone. Oh. Do it. Invite someone over. Figuring it'd be best to catch up with someone instead of stewing in my apartment alone, I pull up my contact list and idly scroll through it. Conan's number immediately captures my attention, being the newest addition to my contacts and sitting near the top of the list, before my curiosity begins to stray once more. Without so much as hesitating, I tap on that person's number and bring the phone closer to my ear. It's glitchy. Okay. Odd, I don't remember scrolling all the way down to view his contact details. Nevertheless, I find myself tapping on Ren's name and bringing the phone closer to my ear. He picks up almost immediately, and I can practically feel the excitement and moe flowers expelled from the screen as he hit me in the face. And before I know it, Ren is agreeing to come over as soon as he can, so I quickly turn the lights back on, clean the place up a bit, and anticipate his arrival. I'm trying for a good ending, okay? Barely 10 minutes pass before I hear a loud knocking at my front door. Almost immediately, I leap to my feet and unlock it with a smile. Ren, hey, come in. I see you're still wearing my hoodie. I also brought some takeout with me. Is that okay? I figured you hadn't had a chance to eat yet. Whoa, how'd you know? It's like you can read minds or something. Barely registering the look on his face, I gently coax Ren into my living room. He makes himself at home on my couch, and I bring a few utensils from my kitchen for the food he so kindly brought. Oh, by the way, were you at the manga store earlier today? I thought I saw you there. Yeah, I know you did. I mean, because I saw you as well, after I left. I noticed you through the window. Well, that seemed to confirm my thoughts about Ren sitting outside the store. Stabbing my fork into the food, I take a bite and let out a pleased hum for all the delicious flavors dancing on my tongue. Really? You should have said so hi. I thought about it, but you seemed really focused on something. And then you got a call, so... Ah, yeah, that was my friend Moth. Oh, that reminds me. Ren. At that, his full attention is immediately on me. Takeout long forgotten as the taller man moves his seat to face me. I remember you saying that you like Attack on Giants too, right? I could introduce you guys. They're a diehard fan for the anime, and I'm sure they wouldn't mind. Oh, Moth is the one who's interested? Almost shyly, he turns his head away and meekly scratches at his jaw. I don't mind, but I wasn't expecting Ren to be so hesitant, and I suddenly felt bad for springing this all onto him without considering how he might feel as well. Hey, no need to force yourself. I just don't want... If you don't want to, that's okay. I just thought it'd be nice to let them have someone else to talk to, you know? Moth has trouble making friends, and most of the time they're only talking to me. Yeah? That's too bad. He sends me a sad look coupled with a frown before returning to the plate before him. Although I was thinking about mouth, I really didn't want to force Ren into befriending someone if he didn't want to. Besides, maybe he has trouble forming friendships too? It was a little difficult trying to keep up with his sudden personality shifts, but at this point in our friendship, I was starting to get used to it. Deciding to lift the mood a little, I tried to change the subject to something more lighthearted. So, the rats, huh? Really, Mira? That's the first thing you could think of? How is that any less awkward than what we were currently? Actually, I didn't want to say anything, but I think I saw one on my way up here. It probably made itself a home in that busted elevator shaft. Seriously? Wait, do you think you could come with me and explain it to my landlord? I swear your landlord isn't doing anything about it? No. I collapsed onto the sofa with a dramatic sigh. I honestly don't know what they're doing, if I'm being honest. I sent so many complaints, but we haven't received a reply for any of them. Really? Have you considered just moving? Quite a few times, actually, but the location is fine, the place has its charms, my neighbors is friendly, I'm not sure what I like. The location is nice. It was overwhelming at first, but honestly, I think the low rent and location are the only things stopping me from considering other places to live. I see. That's not so bad here after all, right? I mean, as long as there's no creep trying to break in and steal all your laundry or something. Pfft, you've got a point there. I think I'd like... I'd take the rats over a laundry stealing intruder any day, but now that I think about it, who would want to break in just to steal dirty clothes? While I'm sure Ren only meant it as a joke, it was oddly specific. Oh, I just figured that's what normal creep behavior would be. You have a great sense of fashion, and I see your TV is still here, so... Yeah, I guess it would be difficult to lug that downstairs. They probably would have asked the rats for help. Again, with the rats. I couldn't help but let out a laugh at his corny inside joke. Wait, since when do we have our own inside jokes? Now that I really thought about it, the banter I shared with Ren seemed very easygoing as of late, despite how serious the topics were supposed to be. I had been worrying all day about the supposed stalker, yet here I was, casually brushing it off as a carefree joke. Still, is everything alright in your neighborhood? I've heard about the murders going on recently. Well, no one I know has gone missing, so I suppose that's good, right? I won't lie though, it is kind of scary knowing that there's a killer out there. Yeah, I suppose so. But are you really okay with staying here alone? Doesn't that scare you? I'm sure I'll be fine. I've got my neighbor Violet, but if it's really necessary, I'm sure I could stay with Leon for a while and... Say, you could always stay with me instead. I mean, you've already stayed the night at my place, so it wouldn't be a bother if you want to come over again. I'd honestly sleep better at night knowing you're safe. And I always carry a spare keycard with me anyway. If you'd like, you can hold on to it in case something... Ah, I appreciate the offer, Ren, but I can't accept that. It's fine. Besides, you said yourself that living here can get overwhelming. If this can help you in any way. I don't know. Keep it, just in case. I mean, you never know. What if that creep breaks into your apartment again? If that happens, you could come and stay with me this time. I could keep you safe, just like the first time you invited me over. The lobby is full of security, and they won't let anyone upstairs without proper clearance. Plus, I don't have rats. I won't lie, Ren's offer honestly was tempting. The idea of having somewhere to go in case things got bad was comforting thought, but something just didn't sit right with me. I know I've been spending a lot of time with Ren recently, but I still wasn't that familiar with him. I'm sure I might have developed a bit of a crush on the tall guy, but I wasn't going to be swayed by my feelings. Still, the offer really was tempting, and it wasn't like he was asking me to move in with him or anything. Now that I thought about it, Ren was the one giving me access to his home. It wasn't like I was the one in danger here. He was trusting me enough not to be some kind of crazed killer, just like the one on the news. I can't help but crack a small smile at the somewhat morbid thought, and Ren seems to take it as a positive sign. But before I can dwell on any further, I watch his over to reach into his back pocket and pulls out something that resembles a plastic card. Ren wastes no time handing it to me, and I take a moment to look it over. His address and unit number are neatly printed on the top, and some kind of obscure barcode is at the bottom. However, the apartment name and logo in the top right corner are what really captures my attention. Sunshine Hills. I almost forgot he lived in the nicer parts of Coral Bay. They were known for their high-rise apartments and fancy penthouses, so I'm sure Ren never had to worry about rat infestation or deadbeat landlords. Though the more I thought about it, the more willing I was to accept his offer. Maybe it wouldn't be such a bad idea after all. I wouldn't I couldn't help but wonder what kind of programmer could afford fancy marble flooring, but as always, Ren remained a mystery to me. If this opportunity meant getting to know him better, maybe it'd be worth it? Snapping out of my thoughts, I looked up from the glossy plastic and focused my attention back to Ren. Seriously though, it wouldn't hurt to keep it. And it's a spare keycard anyway, I can always get more. I already have a stack of them at home. They're really handy too. I can use them to lock up my office and bedrooms without a physical key. But I always end up misplacing them and... Sorry, Mira, am I rambling again? Well, I don't want you to worry or anything. And you never know what might happen. I've seen what's been on the news lately, and I just want you to be safe. He wants me to be safe? Where have I heard that before? Well, I suppose so. Great, then. He glances back at the plastic item in my hand with an expectant look, almost as if he were waiting for me to put it away. And when I carefully shove it into my pocket, Ren seems to visibly relax and lean back into his chair once more. Then that settles it. Come by whenever you want. You don't even need to call. Thanks. I think I'll still call him in advance, or even shoot a text. As lovely as Ren's welcoming hospitality was, I wouldn't want to disrupt or intrude on anything. As I'm picking up on my son in silence, he clears his throat, gestures towards the food on the table, and scoops up a giant forkful. Anyways, we should finish this before it gets cold. Oh yeah, you're right. Deciding to ease the tension once more, I speak the first thing that comes to mind as I stab my fork into the container as well. Enjoying the food? Can you pass the sauce? You've got some curl on your face. You look like a hamster. Straight up, just, oh, you look like a hamster. You just gave me the keys to your really expensive apartment. You look like a hamster. Enjoying the food? Despite having his cheeks stuffed full of food, Ren managed to send me a pleased look and an awkward thumbs up, which was a feat in itself considering how he was trying to hold his utensils at the same time, so he does look like a hamster. It's good, really tasty. Want some? He offers some of his takeout to me, but I gently shove it back with a laugh. I think I'll pass. You're missing out. The casual banter continues throughout dinner, and soon enough, all the containers were empty and our stomachs were full. I dimmed the lights and switched the TV on at some point to fill the silence between our conversations. And soon enough, Ren and I find ourselves taking an interest in a movie that was currently playing. It was some unknown sappy rom-com that came out almost a decade ago, yet Ren didn't seem to mind at all that much. I wasn't following the plot too keenly, but from what I could gather, the male lead just confessed his love for the main character in the back of her truck. To top it all off, it started raining as some slow, melodic love song came on the radio. The two characters were all too happy to share a sweet kiss with each other in that romantic moment, but the tenderness soon gets cut short once the scene starts to travel down a more heated path. The kissing becomes more passionate, and before I know it, I'm watching the main character lean across the center console to sit in her lover's lap instead. Clearly, I wasn't expecting this to happen in what I falsely believed was a harmless rom-com, so I dared to glance in Ren's direction to gauge his reaction. Yet, aside from the faint dusting of pink on his cheek, the rest of him seemed all too relaxed. There's an arm casually thrown over the back of the couch while the rest of his body is slouched into the plushness of the seat. His lanky limbs are stretched out in front of him, while his thighs are spread out slightly, and the empty space between his legs were beginning to look inviting for some reason. Are we doing this again? God damn it! Was it because of the movie? Before I can stop myself, I find my mind wandering. Change the channel! Okay, fine, we're doing this. But I want to know what's in the locked door. Is there a way that I could have ended up at his apartment today? I want to know what's behind the locked door. I already know my coworker's fine. And if he can use the key cards to lock everything, how come he has a door with an actual physical key? Why? What's behind the door? Okay, we're doing this. I'm gonna skip ahead. A beat passes, and before my sudden confidence can crumble, I suddenly slide across the couch and situate myself atop Ren's lap. I can feel him tense up from underneath me, before his arms come to wrap themselves around my side and pull me closer to his body. Hey! Hi. You can't say shit like that! What the fuck? This fucking... Okay. We're done. There's that familiar lovesick expression in his eyes once more, and I can feel his thumb caress my cheek. Hey. Hi. The gentle ministrations make me want to fall back asleep for some reason, and before I know it, my eyelids start to grow heavy. Doing this with Ren always felt left me feeling languid and tired for obvious reasons, and I couldn't stop myself from melting into his embrace. Surely he wouldn't mind if I closed my eyes for a few seconds. And then you fall asleep. As if sensing my fatigue, I hear Ren an endearing chuckle above me before he scoops me into his arms. The next thing I know, I'm being lifted from the couch and into the safety of Ren's chest instead. I already missed the feeling of having him. Damn it, I thought we were done! But the longing soon gets soothed with the comfort of my bedsheet instead. Did Ren carry me to my bedroom? I can barely keep my eyes open at this point, seemingly happy with reaching for my Haruko plushie to snuggle with instead. I can hear Ren move about my room for somewhere behind me, before I feel the welcome sensation of a towel. I let out an appreciative hum at his ministrations, though I was sure it sounded more like a tired sigh, yet Ren didn't seem to mind. Once he's done, I feel him cover my body with a duvet before placing a kiss against the crown of my head. Sleep well, love. His heavy footsteps are the last thing I hear before my consciousness starts to shift from reality into dreamland. He didn't stay? End of day 3 demo. Thank you so much for playing. Have you tried getting all the different endings yet? No. I'm on the good on the good ending route, I think. Although, so the way it's lining up is either Ren's the serial killer, my ex has issues, I don't even know where to go with that. Leon was giving weird vibes outside the library, and I guess Conan. Those are the options, maybe, for who's the serial killer. I don't know. But yeah, that's the end of the demo. Again, the link to the game is down below. Support the developer. I don't know if there is a timeline for the game to come out exactly, but you can see there. I hope you had fun. There's more games coming this month, more visual novels, romance games, so if that's something you would like to see, consider subscribing and liking the video. I'll see you next time. Bye.